You know what's funny about this ranking? Most people probably look at it and they assume that I am the biggest J.J. McCarthy fan on earth. But that's not why I have the Vikings ranked this high. Okay? This ranking is a testament to how I feel about everything else. Kevin O'Connell, as a head coach, has done an amazing job elevating this roster. We saw it last year. Sam Darnold revived his career with the Vikings, and it wasn't because Sam Darnold is some great quarterback and people just undermined him, although he was a lot better than a lot of people realized. Kevin O'Connell designed a scheme that is perfect for any quarterback to come in. As long as they're smart enough to understand how to play in structure, they're going to be fine, and J.J. McCarthy is that. J.J. McCarthy wants to win, and much like he did when he was in college, he's going to be kind of taking a back seat, and he's fine doing that. He's fine handing the ball off a bunch. He's fine taking his shots off of play action. He's fine making those rhythm throws over the middle and allowing the other guys to do the work. You look at the rest of this roster, he's in a great position to succeed. He really is. TJ Hawkinson is a good inline tight end. He's going to block a bit, but he's going to be a nice safety valve for the quarterback when they are throwing the ball. Then you have Jordan Addison, who separates nearly effortlessly because of his speed and because he is such a nuanced, savvy route runner that runs the full route tree. And then you have arguably the best receiver in the league right now. You have Justin Jefferson, another absurd route runner, but he also has the ability to come down with seemingly any ball you throw his way, making miraculous grab after miraculous grab. And then he proceeds to make plays after the catch. He's the type of guy that makes the offense great no matter who the other 10 guys are. In case that's not enough, though, McCarthy also has the ability to hit Aaron Jones out of the backfield. McCarthy is going to feel really comfortable because Addison is going to separate. Jefferson is definitely going to separate. Even when he doesn't, you're going to be able to throw the ball up to him. TJ Hawkinson is going to settle well versus zone. And then if all that stuff doesn't get open, and Jalen Naylor is a good wide receiver 3, but if none of that stuff could get open, then he could always just dump it off to the running back. Jones may be on the wrong side of 30, but he was still 8th in yards from scrimmage last year. And that O-line is much better now than it was last year. The interior offensive line got them bounced in their first playoff game last year. But during the offseason, they drafted Donovan Jackson in round 1. They added Ryan Kelly and Will Fries in free agency. And then that tackle duo is one of the NFL's best. Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw. This is a really damn good offensive line to really top off the most quarterback-friendly offensive unit in the entire league. Not only is the scheme great, there's going to be a lot of choice routes, a lot of motion, things that make it easy for the quarterback as long as he's smart. If he doesn't watch film, though, and he doesn't put in the effort to get on the same page as Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, then he might struggle. But we know that J.J. McCarthy is willing to put in that work. That's why he won and had the success he did at the college level. He has a strong arm to fit the ball into the tight windows. He is going to do well no matter what. He could be a below-average NFL quarterback. This is the perfect system for a guy like him to succeed. It doesn't matter. And I'm not saying he's going to be below average, but I'm saying worst case scenario, he's still not really going to hurt the team. This Vikings offense is perfect for him. But even if it wasn't, the defense is spectacular. You got to give Brian Flores so much credit. He's a mastermind. And with all the unique blitzes, disguised coverages, it's arguably the most fun defense to watch in the league right now. He's going to show one look pre-snap, then rotate to something completely different post-snap. That is what he's all about. He's one of these disguise-heavy defensive coordinators. He's going to blitz a lot and send some really creative stuff, but he's also going to show blitz other times just to have only 3 guys rush the quarterback. Sometimes he's going to not show a blitz and then end up rushing 6. That is what he's about, the mind games, play after play after play. And then just when you think you got him figured out, he's going to actually do what he's showing pre-snap. Because that's how he toys with you. That's what he does. He toys with offenses. This defensive unit is going to show up in people's nightmares. And it's not because there's any particular defensive stud here. It's because it's a well-rounded unit that wins games on the whiteboard. You have a great interior group with Jonathan Allen Harrison Phillips and Javon Hargrave, all of which are 300-pound Goliaths that just can't get moved. Then their edge group, which is so unique because both these guys are great at getting to the quarterback. Both of them light plays up. Both Van Ginkel and Grenard had 12 sacks last year and over 20 tackles for loss. Complete game records. But then they'll also drop back into coverage. And that's what gives them so much versatility. They're going to rush Van Ginkel. They are going to rush Jonathan Grenard. Do not get it twisted. But they're also going to drop the guys back, and different stuff is going to happen. Offenses don't know how to block up all the sim pressures that they send. And the outside linebackers are the main benefactors on the stat sheet. The linebackers on this defense, though, they have the hardest job because they rotate with the secondary. They play zone coverage. They play man coverage. They blitz. They fit the run, and they call the shots for the rest of the defense. Ivan Pace and Blake Cashman, though, do a perfect job executing this. It's so difficult to be able to do all those things, yet both of these guys do everything at such a high level, and I think that's because of the fact they play football with a really high motor. The effort is nonstop from both of these guys, yet they still play smart. They play like chickens without a head, but with a brain. Both of those two. In the middle of this defense, with all the disguise, just cause so much problems for opposing offenses. The corner room can be a bit questionable, but I love Byron Murphy, and I think the scheme causes enough confusion for offenses to fail to take advantage of maybe some difficulties on the other side, especially with help from a good safety room, featuring veteran tone setter Harrison Smith, who lays the wood even still, and he's still a very smart player, and then Josh Metellus is also a very good player. All the DBs have to be smart because Brian Flores runs a lot of match quarters. He runs a lot of inverted Tampa too. Those are two of the more reactive coverages that a defensive unit will run at the NFL level. But it works, and it works very well. And again, I can't say it enough. All the disguises that Flores runs really adds a whole nother layer to how good this defense is. Because yeah, the personnel is great. That defensive line is going to cause a lot of problems. But putting that personnel in this system, that is what really elevates them into that elite tier. And then offensively, the system is put together really well. It's one of the best teams from a coaching perspective in the entire NFL. And that's what puts them over the edge. And that's what makes this team a true Super Bowl contender, even with a quarterback who is in his sophomore year, got injured in his rookie year. I'm excited to see what this team can do. Let's look at the schedule and see how it ends up playing out. I think the Vikings can cause a lot of problems for a lot of different teams. Week 1, though, I think they're going to find themselves losing. The game's in Chicago. Chicago now has a new head coach. I think they're going to be a completely different animal, and I think they're going to catch the Vikings off guard. I don't think the Vikings know exactly what type of team they're going to be playing against. I think Ben Johnson's going to have them ready to face off against that defensive unit. I think the Vikings are going to lose that first week, but I think they're going to beat the Falcons and Michael Penix. Listen, I like Zach Robinson. I'm excited to see what he does this year. I don't think he'll have a second-year quarterback in Michael Penix ready to face off against such a complex defensive unit. I do think Week 3 is going to be a loss for the Vikings just because this is going to be a game where you need McCarthy to ball out, play well. I could see him doing that, but I also think this might be a game where McCarthy, having pretty much his rookie year, could catch up with him. It is early in the season. I think this is when we see some of those rookie mistakes they didn't get to make last year because he was injured. But now it's out of his system, right? And with that being the case, I think now we see the Vikings go on a win streak. They beat the Steelers. They beat the Browns, right? Browns, I don't think are going to give them much trouble. Steelers, I don't think they're going to give them much trouble either. I don't think the Steelers will be able to score on that defensive unit. And I don't think that Pittsburgh's defense is really going to be able to do too much to J.J. McCarthy because the offensive line will protect him. And what corner do you really trust to lock up Justin Jefferson? Joey Porter? I feel pretty good about the Vikings winning that one. Then the bye week, they come off of that and face off against a really tough Philly team. It's possible, right? Kevin O'Connell off a bye, but the Eagles are also well rested. I'm taking Philly. I could see that one going either way. I do think the Vikings are built to defend the run pretty well. You look at that interior defensive line now. But the game's in LA. I think this is going to be a team that might be able to take advantage of the corner that you find complementary to Byron Murphy, right? I'm going to give that one to the Chargers. But now I have the Vikings really getting their stuff together. They beat Dan Campbell and the Lions off of a bye. The new coordinators and everything. I think this is going to be a game where you get in Jared Goff's face, all of a sudden he's getting pressured because now you got to keep in mind Frank Ragnow's gone. Kevin Zietler's gone. That offensive line's a lot weaker now. You get guys in Jared Goff's face, he starts to really panic. All of a sudden, he's turning the ball over. I think the Vikings should be able to win a game like that and take advantage of the fact Jared Goff can make some mistakes like that. Then against the Ravens, I think this is a team that will run the ball really well on you. I think this is another team where, like, Lamar Jackson, he's such a good quarterback, and I think there is such a difference between McCarthy and Lamar Jackson. They have a really good corner room now that they added Jair Alexander. I don't think Justin Jefferson will do an overwhelming amount to them. I think this is going to be a game where the Vikings find themselves losing because McCarthy really has to step up and play a style of football that's equivalent to Lamar Jackson. Right? There's not going to be many games where that's the case. I think this might be one of them. They're just going to put so much pressure on everyone else. Right? I don't think they're going to get in McCarthy's face much, but Jair Alexander is going to be locking up Jordan Addison. Marlon Humphrey is going to be on Justin Jefferson. You know, like Malachi Starks, Kyle Hamilton, they're going to be doing stuff to try and confuse J.J. McCarthy. I don't love that matchup for the Vikings. I don't. They're the home team. I could see them winning it, but I'm leaning towards Baltimore. I think the Vikings are going to win this game at home against Chicago, get their revenge. I think Green Bay, it should be interesting. I think they're going to perform better on the defensive line this year, right? They have so many first-rounders there, talented players that just didn't really perform overly well last year. I don't think that'll repeat. I think this is going to be a game where the running game it'll have its troubles, right? You could try and depend on Justin Jefferson, and maybe that's not a bad game plan, but I also think Jordan Love might just have one of his days where he kills you, right? Jordan Love is just being surgical in this specific game, and then all of a sudden it's easy to lean towards Green Bay. The game is in Green Bay, Lambeau Field, so I'm giving it to the Packers. But then I think the Vikings kill it for the rest of the season. Now that McCarthy is really acclimated to the league, they score against another disguise-heavy team with Mike McDonald and the Seahawks. I think they're going to be prepared because Flores understands how those types of defenses work. He understands how to expose them. He's going to help McCarthy get used to finding those beaters for a team like this. I think they're going to beat Washington, a team that I don't really love their secondary. I don't think there's someone that could guard Justin Jefferson. There's not many players in the league who can. And then week 15, I think they're just going to run all over the Cowboys. The Cowboys do not have a good run defense whatsoever. I think this is going to be one where they lean on Aaron Jones. They lean on that running back room and do a lot of damage. I think the Giants are just very illegitimate. I think that the Vikings, again, throw the ball to Justin Jefferson a lot. Good things are going to happen here. The Lions are built really well because they have physical guys that are going to throw off the timing of the route concepts, and that allows J.J. McCarthy to kind of struggle to get the ball out too quick. All of a sudden, these blitzes are now getting in his face, and maybe he starts to panic a little bit. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball too effectively because this Lions run defense is really damn good. It's really just going to come down to, hey, the Vikings need to force Jared Goff to play another bad game. I think that happens in week 9. I don't think that happens twice. I don't. So I think the Lions are going to win one game because they shut down the opposing team's run game. And I think the Vikings are going to win one because they cause Jared Goff to have some problems. Week 18, I think the Vikings are going to beat the Packers. The Vikings have a little bit more time. It's a mini bye right here. They're the home team here. I think the Vikings are just going to split against every division rival because I see an argument for them. I see an argument against them, right? The NFC North is really tough, so this 10-7 record, don't treat it as Bible. There's a lot of games I could kind of go either way with. That Bengals game is kind of one I could go either way with. That Chargers game, that's one I think a lot of people might lean the Vikings, right? There's a chance that they beat one of these teams twice, right? I think the Vikings are going to have a generally good season, right? 10-7 in this division, that's tough. Like, there's a lot of tough teams that you're going to be playing against. I think that's a good season. I think they're going to make some noise in playoffs because they are built really well. That defense is going to cause problems for people, and that offense is going to do a good job kind of masking the fact they have the equivalent of a rookie out there. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm excited to see you next time.